That container of ice cream in your freezer right now, the same brand your parents bought, the one you've been loyal to for decades. Go grab it, I'll wait. Now flip it over and read the front label. Does it say ice cream or does it say frozen dairy dessert? If you've never noticed those two words, you're not alone. Most people don't. And that's exactly what these companies are counting on. Here's what happened. The FDA requires ice cream to contain at least 10% milk fat. When brands started replacing cream with corn syrup, vegetable oils, and whey protein to cut costs, their products dropped below that threshold. They couldn't legally call it ice cream anymore, so they quietly changed the label to frozen dairy dessert. Same packaging, same price. Completely different product inside. They changed it. They didn't tell you, and they're still charging you the same price for something that legally cannot be called what you think you're buying. Welcome to The Label Changed, where we catch what brands hope you'll miss. If you've ever felt like your favorite ice cream tastes different than you remember, you're not imagining it. Hit subscribe and the notification bell so you never miss an investigation. Today, we're exposing 10 ice cream brands that quietly stopped being ice cream, and then I'll reveal 4 brands that prove the real thing still exists. Let's start the countdown. Number 10, Klondike. Starting at number 10, Klondike built an empire on one question. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Apparently, the company would sacrifice ingredient quality. The original Klondike bar was simple: a thick chocolate shell coating dense, creamy vanilla ice cream. The chocolate snapped when you bit through it. The ice cream inside was cold and rich. That's what made it worth doing something for. Consumer complaints started appearing around 2018. Reddit threads filled with longtime fans noticing the chocolate shell had become thinner and waxier. The ice cream inside lost the dense texture that made it satisfying. One user who'd eaten Klondike bars for 30 years wrote that they suddenly tasted cheap and artificial. Another described the chocolate as having a strange plastic quality. Klondike is owned by Unilever, the multinational conglomerate that appears repeatedly on this list. When corporate ownership prioritizes quarterly earnings over recipe integrity, products change. Several products in the Klondike line no longer qualify as ice cream under FDA standards. They carry the frozen dairy dessert designation in small print that most consumers never read. Same iconic wrapper, same nostalgic jingle. Different product entirely. Number 9, Friendly's. At number 9, Friendly's represents a particularly painful decline. If you grew up on the East Coast, Friendly's restaurants meant birthday sundaes and family celebrations. The Fribble milkshakes, the Reese's Pieces sundae. Their grocery store ice cream carried that same nostalgic promise of quality. Flip over a container today, and many flavors now read, frozen dairy dessert. The texture tells the story immediately. What used to be dense and rich now feels airy and foamy. The ice cream melts differently, leaving a strange film on your tongue rather than that clean, creamy finish. Consumer reviews describe it as gummy, artificial, and nothing like what it used to be. The flavor profiles have flattened into generic sweetness. The company went through bankruptcy in 2011 and again in 2020. When financial pressure mounts, ingredient quality is always the first casualty. Cream is expensive, corn syrup is cheap, whey protein is cheaper still. Friendly's bet brand loyalty would carry them through the reformulation. For longtime fans who remember what this product used to taste like, that bet didn't pay off. The name survived. The quality didn't. Number 8, Magnum. Magnum built its entire brand identity on premium indulgence, Belgian chocolate, creamy ice cream, that satisfying crack when you bite through the shell. The marketing positioned Magnum as affordable luxury, a small indulgence that delivered genuine quality without the super premium price tag. Except customers started noticing the crack wasn't as satisfying anymore. The bars seemed physically smaller, the chocolate coating thinner, the ice cream inside less creamy and more icy. Complaints surged around 2022. One Reddit user described it precisely. Magnum tastes like they make it with skim milk now. and even the chocolate shell isn't as rich as it used to be. Another noted the bars appeared to be half their original size while prices kept climbing. Visual comparisons with older product photos confirm the visual difference. The bars are noticeably smaller. Analysis of the chocolate coating suggests higher vegetable oil content and lower cocoa butter percentage than the original formula. Magnum is another Unilever brand. See the pattern forming, premium pricing, budget execution. The Magnum you're buying today costs more than it did 5 years ago, but delivers significantly less product and quality. And wait until you see what happened to number 4. Number 7. Halo Top. Halo Top exploded in 2017 as the guilt-free ice cream revolution. Low calorie, high protein. Finally, a healthy ice cream that actually tasted good. The original formula delivered around 300 calories per pint with 20 grams of protein. You could eat the whole container without the guilt. The formula worked. By 2018, Halo Top was the best-selling pint in America, outselling Ben & Jerry's and Häagen-Dazs. Then, in 2022, Halo Top announced a complete reformulation. They switched from skim milk to ultra-filtered milk. They changed how they incorporated protein into the base. They adjusted the sweetener ratios. The company framed it as an improvement, claiming the new recipe was creamier and more indulgent. Longtime fans immediately disagreed. Reddit threads filled with complaints. The texture is completely different. It's gummy now. It lost that light, creamy quality that made it special. Some described the new formula as leaving a strange aftertaste. Others said it no longer satisfied the ice cream craving despite the calorie count remaining similar. The pints that once outsold every competitor now struggle for shelf space. The Halo Top that became a cultural phenomenon no longer exists. What you're buying today is a different product with the same name and same packaging. Number 6. Edie's and Dryers. Depending on where you live, you know this brand as Edie's or Dryers. Same company, same products, different regional names. And the same quiet transformation happened to both. Here's something telling. Visit their official website FAQ page today. They don't call their products ice cream. The page repeatedly references frozen dairy dessert. That's not accidental word choice. That's legal compliance. Their slow-churned line, marketed as a lighter option with half the fat, falls below the 10% milk fat threshold required to legally qualify as ice cream under FDA regulations. The original 1929 recipe tells a different story. When William Dreyer and Joseph Adie invented Rocky Road by cutting marshmallows with scissors in their kitchen, they used cream as the primary ingredient. Real cream, real chocolate, real marshmallows. That's what made it special. Today's ingredient list shows skim milk before cream. Corn syrup appears on multiple products. Mono and diglycerides, carob bean gum. The FDA classification changed because the recipe changed. One review captured the sentiment perfectly. They changed the recipe and now it has a bad aftertaste with corn syrup in the ingredients. The brand that invented one of America's most beloved ice cream flavors now sells products that can't legally use the word ice cream on the label. Number 5. Turkey Hill. Turkey Hill built its reputation on simple, affordable ice cream. A Pennsylvania staple since 1931, the brand represented honest value. Good ice cream at fair prices, nothing fancy, nothing pretentious, just real ice cream made with real ingredients. Then, around 2023, eagle-eyed consumers noticed something had changed. Mouseprint, a consumer advocacy website dedicated to tracking package changes that companies hope you won't notice, documented the shift in detail. Turkey Hill quietly deleted the words ice cream from the red banner on their containers and substituted the word quality, a meaningless word that says nothing about what's actually inside. Many of their premium flavors shifted from ice cream to frozen dairy dessert. The ingredient lists changed. Cream moved down the list, corn syrup moved up, skim milk became a primary ingredient. The milk fat percentage dropped below the FDA's 10% threshold. No press releases announced the reformulation. No marketing campaigns explained the change. No price reduction accompanied the quality reduction. They just quietly changed the product and changed 2 words on the label in small print. They bet you wouldn't flip the container over. They bet you wouldn't notice the texture was different. They bet you'd keep buying out of habit. They bet wrong. Number 4, Ben and Jerry's. This one hurts. Ben & Jerry's built an empire on being different. The anti-corporate ice cream company. Chunks so big you needed a spoon and a strategy. The brand that proved ice cream could have a conscience. Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield started in 1978 in a renovated Vermont gas station. Their commitment was simple: best ingredients, generous portions, fair prices. Then Unilever acquired Ben & Jerry's in 2000 for $326 million. The founders fought the acquisition but lost. In 2024, Unilever announced it was spinning off its ice cream division, cutting 7,500 jobs. When corporations cut costs at that scale, products change. Consumer complaints increased after the acquisition. One Reddit user captured it. "I've been eating Ben & Jerry's for over 20 years. Recently got the same flavor and it's completely different. Gritty brownies, airy ice cream. The sweetness tastes manufactured." The company that once ran ads criticizing Häagen-Dazs for shrinking pints is now owned by the same corporate structure, and we're only at number 4. Number 3, Häagen-Dazs. In 2018, a discussion thread appeared on Chowhound. Users wanted to know if Häagen-Dazs had changed their vanilla recipe. The texture seemed icier, less creamy, not as dense. And here's the remarkable part. Häagen-Dazs admitted it. A company spokesperson confirmed they had made a small change to the vanilla recipe. They wouldn't specify what changed, citing trade secrets, but they acknowledged the reformulation was real. Häagen-Dazs also pioneered shrinkflation in ice cream. In 2009, they reduced pints from 16 ounces to 14 ounces while keeping prices the same. That's 12.5% less product. Ben & Jerry's ran ads calling them out. The brand, created in 1960 to represent super premium quality, now sells smaller containers with tweaked recipes. Still decent ice cream, but not what it was. Number 2, Blue Bunny. Blue Bunny earns the number 2 spot for one reason: the betrayal was explicit and documented. Blue Bunny has been making ice cream in Lamars, Iowa since 1913. When other brands switched to frozen dairy dessert, Blue Bunny publicly committed to real ice cream. In 2016, they told Mouseprint directly. Other brands were straying from the true definition of ice cream, but Blue Bunny's quality had not been ignored. They made it sound like a promise. Then, around 2021, it happened anyway, quietly, without announcement. The words ice cream disappeared from their 48-ounce containers. Frozen dairy dessert appeared in small print. Most customers never noticed because most customers don't read labels. The old recipe listed milk and cream as primary ingredients. The new version leads with skim milk and whey protein. Coconut oil appears as a cheap fat substitute. The brand that publicly promised they'd never switch, switched. They just didn't tell anyone. Number 1, Breyers. Taking the number 1 spot, the most documented case of ice cream reformulation in American history. Breyers has been making ice cream since 1866. For over a century, their marketing centered on one promise: simple, natural ingredients. They ran commercials showing children reading the ingredient list: milk, cream, sugar, vanilla. If a kid couldn't pronounce an ingredient, it didn't belong in the container. Then Unilever acquired Breyers. And around 2013, everything changed. Compare the old butter pecan recipe to the current one. Old: milk, cream, sugar, pecans, natural flavor. 5 ingredients. New: milk, sugar, corn syrup, pecans, cream, whey, mono and diglycerides, carob bean gum, guar gum, carrageenan, lactase enzyme, annatto for color, vitamin A, palmitate, tarragon. Cream dropped from 2nd ingredient to 5th. Corn syrup appeared where it never existed. The product that built its identity on readable ingredients now requires a chemistry degree. Consumer backlash was immediate. One reviewer wrote that family members immediately said something was wrong with this product. Another noted their dog sniffed the new formula, sneezed, and walked away. Same packaging, same price. But legally, it cannot be called ice cream anymore. That's not opinion. That's FDA regulation. But here's the good news. Not every brand sold out. These 4 brands prove you can still make ice cream the right way. Real cream, simple ingredients, honest labels. Number 4. Grater's. Starting our safe list, Grater's has been making ice cream in Cincinnati since 1870. 4 generations of the same family without selling to a conglomerate. What makes Grater's extraordinary is their process. They still use French pot freezers, producing only 2 gallons at a time, while industrial operations produce hundreds per batch. The slow freezing creates ice cream so dense your spoon has to work. The chocolate chips are hand-stirred into the base, creating irregular chunks that shatter when you bite them. The ingredient list reads like your grandmother wrote it: cream, milk, sugar, egg yolks, vanilla. Nothing you can't pronounce. You'll pay more per pint, but you're paying for what ice cream used to be before corporations decided cream was too expensive. Number 3. McConnell's Fine. Ice Creams has been operating in Santa Barbara, California since 1949. They source milk and cream from their own dairy, Central Coast Creamery, controlling quality from cow to container. The ingredient list for sweet cream: cream, milk, cane sugar, milk solids, egg yolks, tapioca starch. 6 ingredients: no corn syrup, no gar gum, no carrageenan. McConnell's proves you can make all natural ice cream without sacrificing texture. The secret is using cream as the primary ingredient and accepting that real ice cream costs more to produce. The texture is noticeably different from mass-market brands. Denser, creamier. It melts on your tongue rather than leaving a greasy film. That's what happens when cream is first instead of fourth. Number 2. Tillamook. Tillamook represents something increasingly rare, a farmer-owned cooperative that prioritizes quality over profit. Operating in Oregon since 1909, the farmers who supply the milk actually own the company. Not shareholders, not a private equity firm. Farmers who wake up at 4 in the morning to milk cows. This ownership structure changes everything. When someone suggests replacing cream with corn syrup, the farmers vote no, because they're owners whose names are on the product. They have to look their neighbors in the eye at the grocery store. This explains why Tillamook contains more butterfat than industry standard. They use less overrun, meaning less air pumped in, creating de-Enza ice cream. Pick up a Tillamook container and compare the weight to competitors. It's heavier because there's more actual ice cream inside. The ingredient list for old-fashioned vanilla: cream, milk, skim milk, sugar, egg yolks, vanilla extract. Cream is the first ingredient, the way ice cream is supposed to be made. Tillamook reduced container sizes in 2021, but they announced it publicly and explained rising costs honestly. Transparency is possible when your owners are farmers, not shareholders. Number 1. Jeni's Splendid Ice Creams. Taking the top spot as the gold standard for how ice cream should be made, Jeni's Splendid Ice Creams. Jeni Britton founded her company in 2002 in Columbus, Ohio, with one mission: ice cream from whole ingredients with nothing artificial. Her cookbook won a James Beard Award. She didn't just start a company, she created a philosophy. Every Jeni's flavor uses grass-pastured dairy from family farms, fair trade vanilla from Uganda, fair trade chocolate from Ecuador. When the label says brown butter almond brittle, the brown butter was actually browned in their kitchen. Every ingredient is real and traceable. The company is a certified B Corporation with full transparency about sourcing and methods. You'll pay $8 to $12 per pint. That's what ice cream costs when dairy farmers are paid fairly and quality matters more than quarterly earnings. Jeni's proves the model works. Real ice cream, made honestly, sold transparently. Available nationwide and ships direct. The real version still exists. You just have to know where to look. So what do you do with this information? First, flip the container. Every single time. If it says frozen dairy dessert anywhere on the package, it failed to meet the FDA's 10% milk fat requirement for ice cream. Second, read the first 3 ingredients. Cream should be first or second. If you see corn syrup before cream, if you see skim milk leading the list, they've prioritized kiosk over quality. Third, check the weight. A true pint is 16 ounces. Many premium brands now sell 14-ounce containers at pint prices. Fourth, support the brands that didn't sell out. Tillamook is available nationwide. Jenny's ships direct. Grater's and McConnell's are expanding every year. Real ice cream exists, you just have to choose it. The product's changed, but you don't have to accept it. Every time you choose a brand that kept their promise, you vote with your wallet. If you learned something today, subscribe to The Label Changed and hit the notification bell. Every like helps more people catch what brands hope they'll miss. Share this with someone who deserves to know what they're actually buying. New investigations drop every week. The Label Changed. Now you know how to read it.